in the back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break. Watch John Cruise's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show. Get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
This Bass you go. You know, we didn't have that back then. And dude, it could just...
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bass University Live. So psyched to be here today. Really excited about today's show. It's bringing me back to my roots, and a lot of you guys listening and watching at home probably started this way or competing this way now is in the Federation. That's where I got started. I was a BASS Federation back before they had a split. And now there's MLF division and there's Bass Nation division, and but it was awesome. I loved the clubs. I loved competing around my region and trying to make it to the Bassmaster Classic. It was a thrill. I learned so much. I grew probably as an angler more during that period than any other time in my fishing career. So I absolutely loved it, and that's who we're going to have on today. We're going to have on the Federation Nation guys, the guys that have qualified to make it to the next level. These guys have qualified and won their division, which is going to qualify them for the Federation or the Nation National Tournament, and that's one step. I'm talking one step away from punching their ticket to the Bassmaster Classic. So I'm proud of these guys. I'm thrilled to have 4 of them with us today. We will not have the Northern Division winner because that person hasn't won it yet. That tournament starts tomorrow, and the qualifier from that will be announced later on this week. So you can check all that stuff out over at Bassmaster.com. So great show. Get your questions together. You want to learn how to get started, participate in the Nation, anything from the various bodies of water. These guys have qualified on bodies of water all over the country. We've got the Western Division, and let me tell you who we've got. We've got Frankie Mueller from the Western region, won on Lake Havasu. Doug Thompson from the Central Division, won on Grand Lake. Will Davis from the Southeastern Division, won on Smith Lake. And Tim Doobie just punched his ticket up on from the Northeast Division up on the St. Lawrence River, the Thousand Islands region. A lot of different kinds of bodies of water represented here, from a southern crystal clear impoundment at Smith Lake. Of course, the mighty St. Lawrence River smallmouth fishery. Grand Lake, one of the best lakes in the country out in Oklahoma. And then we've got Lake Havasu, which I've fished all these lakes. Never competed on Havasu, but I've cast the line, caught a fish or two out there on the Western region, which is Lake Havasu is I would call it a desert lake. It's really crazy. It's crystal. It's really clear water, and it's set in more of a desert setting. So a lot of different types of fishing that are going to be represented by our guests that we're having on today. So you get your questions together. You want to talk fishing on those regions, talk about the Nation, qualifying, getting involved. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have a blast talking with these 4 champions. So can't wait to have them on. And there's as always, Riz did a nice job getting us up and off the ground. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. This show's going to be a little bittersweet, because I'm talking to the guy that beat me up at the St. Lawrence, but that's all right. He fished an outstanding tournament. Really put together a nice game plan and executed it pretty much flawlessly. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about how he got it done, in addition to the other 3 anglers that we're going to be talking to. It'll be be super interesting to hear about how these guys got it done pretty much on 4 different corners of the country. So
Yeah.
it should be a good one.
Well, congratulations to you. You made the tournament, and you had a blistering. You had virtually a 5-pound average on your limit on day one, like 4 3/4 pound average.
Yep.
Just amazing fishery putting out smallmouth that big.
Yeah, it really is an amazing place, Pete. I went up there. I don't want to say completely unprepared, but I was pretty much completely unprepared. I went up there and I shortened my practice by a day. I had somebody book me for a trip on the Chesapeake on Father's Day, and I opted to fulfill that trip and limit and shortcut my practice by a day going up there. I didn't really know what to expect. I had done some homework as far as areas of the lake that I needed to be focused on, but the dominant pattern seemed to be you needed to be looking at them. And looking at them up there, oftentimes for these smallmouth fisheries is in up to 18 feet of water, even out to 20 feet of water in the current. And you're using a flogger, which is something that we'll let Tim talk a little bit more about. But anybody out there who isn't familiar, it's basically a giant traffic cone with a piece of plexiglass that you look down into the water at the fish on.
It gives you like 5 to 10 feet of additional visibility under the water.
Yep, and you can see everything clear as day as our main camera keeps cutting in and out here. So on our break, I'll try to figure that out. But so I was not really prepared going up there for that, and I kind of figured that deal out in the last 2 hours of my practice. And I was fortunate enough. Big shout out to Ed String from the NJ Bass Nation. He had a flogger that he was not using. He let me borrow it. And I pretty much found every fish that I caught on day one during the tournament. Like, I didn't have them marked. I didn't know where they were. I just basically went fishing once I figured out that was really the deal. And then on day 2, we had some mishaps. Spun my hub running down the river in the morning. Kind of threw me for a loop. First time that's ever happened to me in a big event like that. And a flip-flop in the weather conditions kind of left me scrambling a little bit. And when I finally got around the right stuff late in the day, I broke off the biggest fish I saw all week. And that was pretty much like taking a right cross from Mike Tyson at that time in the day. And I felt like it.
You called me and with your breakdown.
Yep.
And I got to be honest, I was impressed that your how cool you were under pressure. I knew you were under the gun, having mechanical trouble and trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's a big. I mean, dude, you got to be able to keep your head together, because I guess it happens to everybody. Everybody's going to blow a power head or lose a prop, or the electrical system's going to go. Something's going to happen. It's fishing, especially when you're on a body of water like that, where your equipment's going to get tested with waves and current. And
sure was.
Everything you got to do. So you did a great job. Did a great job getting there.
Yeah.
And then competing. After day one, you were in the hunt, man. That's all you can hope for.
Absolutely. It takes about a 5-pound average up there to even be playing on the right field. Big shout out to one of my best friends, Connor Cahill. He won the state of New Jersey. He put together a great game plan and executed it for all 3 days. Finished in the top 10 of that tournament on a lake he's never even seen before. Pay attention to that name. It's not going to be the last time you hear it. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if he went down to Pickwick and won the thing. So big shout out to Connor from the state of Jersey. But we got a whole slew of guys on here that are going to talk to us about how they executed and got it done.
Yeah, they got it done.
Yep.
And congratulations, Connor. Well done. And it was great. We're going to be talking about all that because there's a lot here. It's the team format. Like, how did each group? Like, I've been on teams where it was a lot of individuals where we didn't work together that well. I've been on teams where the team concept ruled and helped us win. What state won this, Rich? the Northeast Division?
Oh, that's a good question, Pete. We'll have to ask Tim.
Because that's another
I'm really
thing
not
going
sure.
on. It's another aspect to this deal is you got the individuals, and then you have the state competition that's taking place all at the same time. So there's a heck of a lot that's going on in these events, which makes it really cool. Loved it from day one, and so we're gonna be diving in. We got a face here that you guys met the first time appearing on Bass University Live.
That, right?
One of our behind the scenes guys, Scott Carlisle, is with us tonight.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate the info. This is good stuff.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
Scott's a fish head like the rest of us.
Totally.
Mainly, dabbling in the MLF BFLs right now.
Yep, BFL heading up there in 3 weeks or so. Hit the old Thousand Islands area. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, all you need is a 6-pound average, Scott.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how that works out. After today's show, who knows?
Yeah, right? Who knows what information will transpire. But Scott's going to be handling a lot of IMs. Guys, you got questions, get them through to our IM board over at bassu.tv. Scott will get your question asked and answered.
Yeah, we'll get you hooked up.
And as well as we'll be following you guys on Facebook. And we've got a great, as always, a Facebook like and share content. You're watching over there. Like us, share it, and we'll enter you into a contest. We've got some what's our prize for our like and share today, Rich?
We got a $50 prize pack. It's a
Awesome.
tackle pack from all of our awesome sponsors here at the Bass University, as well as a grand prize going out at the end of the show. And that's from our folks over at Hobie Eyewear. We're going to be giving away a pair of shades to one lucky winner during the show. And guys, if you want a chance to win that, you gotta be a Bass U TV member. And right now is a great time to sign up. You can try it out for 30 days for free. Use the code BULive30, and that'll get you unlimited access to the entire video catalog for the first 30 days. No money down. You get everything the same that a paying member would get. So guys, give us a try. It's really going to help your fishing. Take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Federation is a great training ground. I use it as a training tool to help my fishing get to the next level. It's one amazing tool. Bass University, I've built this. Mike and I have built this. Our whole team has crafted this to help anglers become better. It's a really fantastic tool that guys from the just going out to be consistent catching fish to fishing the Federation level to the very, very top pros. So many guys that are fishing at the top level. Ryan Salzman, who just won the Bass Pro Tour, is an avid Bass University TV subscriber and has used it to help his fishing. So we've got something there for everybody. And Jake Gluzak is becoming Riz. He had the biggest fish on the golf course pond captured last night, and
The man, the myth, the legend.
he has. Man, it like your spun hub on the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah.
He had the wheels come off last night, and he's still thinking about it. He was talking to me about it this morning, but he's become a top order aficionado.
Yes.
And we were out, and boy, when the rain started coming down. And we were out fishing, and all the golfers left. We're on a golf course pond, and the golfers go away, but the fishermen all come out in the rain.
Yeah.
And the rain started coming down, and boom, you could tell he got this, just this explosion in golf. Now, in typical fish that we're catching these 12, 14 inches, but it's a lot of fun. It's pretty good fishing there. You can catch a few every time you go. This fish was 3 times that size. It was just the biggest fish probably lives in that golf course pond, and he battled it. And that, this fish is digging for the lily pads, and I'm kind of schooling him up, like walk down the bank away, cut the angle off to get that fish off the pads.
Yep.
And he's listening, and he's all bowed up. He's caching. He's always grabbing my rods to go do this stuff, which I love it. But he's got his rod bowed up. He's got good braided line. He's all set up. And here's the problem. He's got this big fish, but there's a lip at the golf course pond. And it's rocks and then the sod from the golf course.
Got to flip it.
He's got to get it over that.
Yeah.
and he's got a spinning rod. He's probably got a 5-pound bass or better.
Oh gosh.
And and he's to the bank, and he goes to lift the fish, and boom, the bait pops right out of his mouth as he's trying to drag him up the bank.
But he saw the fish.
He saw it.
You know what?
He saw it. He
Jake,
fought it.
Jake,
you know?
I'm giving you. It was if he was on a boat, that's within net range.
That fish is caught,
and he's going to be able to land it. You know what I mean, Jake? I'm giving you that one. You caught that.
I tried giving it to him.
Yeah,
I gave him that fish, but he wouldn't take it.
He wouldn't take it.
He wouldn't take it.
He's got to get his hands on it.
Dad, unless I capture that fish in my hands, that fish is not caught.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
he's right.
Get him another time.
Yeah, exactly. He's right.
Yeah, he holds himself to a high standard.
Guess what? The fish is still in the pond.
Yes.
Go catch him, Jake. You got him.
Yeah. That was crazy. Crazy good fish catch. Exciting to see my son get fired up on fishing, and he's got his boys out there fishing. So really, really good stuff, and we're really excited because we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have got 4 Federation Nation champs that are going to the Federation National. We're going to be talking to them about how they did it and what they think about the upcoming national tournament that is going to be taking place on Pickwick Lake, it sounds like. So
that's right.
So hang in there, guys. We'll be right back after this short message. BassBoatForSale.com is the world's premier bass boat listings business. We focus on driving premium web traffic to our main website, business Facebook page, business Instagram, and our business YouTube channel, providing your bass boat listings the best buying traffic and top-notch exposure. Whether you need to sell your bass boat or are looking to buy a bass boat, it's simple. We give boats exposure so buyers shop and sellers list. One-time listing fee, no commission, and boats list until they sell. BassBoatForSale.com. Check it out.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. Aquaview. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA. Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Guys, welcome back to Bass University Live. Great show. Great to have you guys with us. We're going to be talking fishing, tournament fishing, Nation Fishing, we've got 4 champs. And without any further ado, let's bring them in, Riz, and let's talk to the guys. We've got 4 champs from around the country, from West Coast down south and up north and everywhere in between. So we've got a real great lineup. We're super psyched.
Yeah, we do. We got 3 of our 4 with sideways phone screens. So again, Doug Thompson is definitely the one who's been on several Zooms before, because Frankie, Will, and Timothy, you guys are all sideways. Probably got to unlock your phone screens and then go ahead and spin it around again.
All right. Well, we got Doug squared up. Is that you, Doug? All right. Well, let's dive in while we get the other guys squared away. This is Doug Thompson. I'm meeting you guys for the first time. We all are here on Bass University, and you won the Central Region on Grand Lake, man. I appreciate you being with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good times.
Yeah, it's good times. When did that tournament take place?
That was the first week of May.
Oh,
right
man.
On the first week of May this year. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys wrapped that up early out there. That's, I know there's one that's just going on right now. So, boy, you've punched your ticket for the national for a long time, man. You've had a little time to think about it, man. Are you excited? Have you developed a practice strategy going down to Pickwick? Where are you at with it?
Always excited to make the Bass Nation National Championship. That's a really cool event. Something to look forward to anytime you can make that event. Yeah, Pickwick Lake is, I love Tennessee River. November, I've been to Pickwick one time before in November, not competing, but just fishing there. It can be challenging that time of year.
Yeah, well, it really is. Once you get into the fall, it can be challenging. You know it. You've been there, but it's amazing. I'm looking at your stats, and you've got some pretty impressive stats going to the All-American in 2019. But you've made a Bassmaster Classic before back in 2014. So you're the guy, you're the veteran. You've been down this road.
Yeah, getting long in the tooth, I guess. Like quite a few of us are. No, yeah, like I said, I like the Tennessee River. It's been good to me in the past, like Gunnersville. This is a couple of pulls down. So it ought to be good times on Pickwick.
If you had to give advice, because I think a lot of guys are going to be going for their first big national tournament like this, if you had a piece of advice to give to the guys, what would it be?
Just maximize your time during the event. You have limited time to do your tackle, limited time for preparations while you're there. And that's something that I was told when I've been to 3 of these national championships. This will be number 4. So that was one of the things. Anytime they give you time in the boatyard, do your tackle, work on your tackle, get everything lined out, because next thing you know, you'll be on the bus back to the motel. They take really good care of us there. They fuel your boat up for you, feed us every day, food in your boat. It's a good times.
One of the powerful forces in fishing in my world is George Cochran. He's won the Classic twice. He's won the FLW championship, but his whole career was predicated on trying to win the big Classic tournament. When your response to that reminds me of the thing that he said is, like, you can't forget, or don't ever forget, that there's a tournament going on at these events, because of all the pomp and circumstance and hype. You got to keep your head in the game, Doug.
Exactly. That's one of the things that the Bassmaster Classic, the media days, the meetings we had to go to, dealing with the media, just things as small as getting your jersey right. You're waiting on your jersey. It hasn't arrived yet,
Right.
But when I got on the water, be it practice, pre-fishing, or actually in the event, that's whenever, I was the most comfortable. I was in my world and on the water, and it's a tournament. You got to catch fish.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I know at the Classic that it is. You're so distracted, and the National is going to be like that. and you can be pulled so many different ways, but you gotta stay focused. That's great advice. Great advice, Doug. And let's move out to the West Coast with Frankie Mueller. Frankie, man, you're out from the West Coast, qualified on Havasu. You're 26 years old. You're just getting started in this, man. That had to be a thrill to win that tournament.
Yeah, it was a blessing. You know, I fished the year before at the regionals at Havasu, and it didn't go so good. It kind of hurt my pride a little bit. You know, it's my home lake, so it felt good to be hometown.
That's well, Havasu is now. Wait a minute. Now BTC, who is not with us. Shout out to BTC. He's up with the boys from Pure Fishing up on Lake Champlain this week, and but he's got some great notes here, and this is an amazing note. When you were 14 years old, you sold a goat to buy your first bass boat. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm 4-H at the county fair auction.
That's awesome. I can't believe a goat can get you into a boat, man. Those things must be valuable.
It wasn't the prettiest boat, but it got me on the water.
That's truly awesome. So what you got started really early doing this at 14 years old, man. You're jumping into this game. It's no wonder, you know, at such a young age you're doing well. We're seeing that a lot more. I know, Doug, I'm in your age category, but it's Frank, the younger guys, your generation, are able to learn so much quicker and get up to speed and get competitive at such a young age. You're doing it really good at 26 years old, making it here. What do you credit to? I mean, how are you able to learn so fast and get competitive so fast?
I was pretty fortunate. You know, I had a handful of older guys that had been doing it for a while that kind of took me under their wing, you know, right out of high school, right out of the gate. And they kind of showed me the ropes, you know, the basics, what to do and what not to do. And mostly just keep your head right and stay calm and, you know, finish the job at hand and just.
So having a mentor, you would say having a mentor or a group of mentors is a great way to advance.
It was for me. You know, everybody learns in their own ways, but for me, it's kind of having someone, in a way, you know, hold your hand and just show you the ropes, you know, I know there's a lot of guys that have done it on their own with no help, you know. My dad, just about every weekend when I was a kid, him and my boss, thanks for him for letting me leave the job for a little bit to come do this. Those two guys, they took me out a lot when I was a younger kid and, you know, fished a few tournaments that they'd allow 3 people on the boat, and we won a couple of them. And that just kind of, you know, I was 12 or 13 years old when we won those couple of tournaments, and that just drove me to keep doing it. It's
interesting because I learned, like I was a co-angler to get started. I had a mentor, and his name was Rich Schneider. And I've mentioned him before on the show a few times, but it was amazing to practice with him. And we would have horrible practices, and then he would go win the tournament. And I never, you know, if I never had that exposure, I would have not known how to turn, you know, lemons into lemonade, how to, you know, how you can turn something like that into a win, or how tournaments were won. So a mentor was very, very important for me as well. So highly recommend that if you can find somebody. And the Federation is a great way to do it, because it's set up that way because you guys are club-based, right? How is the Federation out there in your region? Do you have a lot of big clubs, a lot of clubs out there? What's it like out on the West?
In Arizona, I can't speak for the other states, but I know Arizona, we have a pretty good Bass Nation. You know, beginning of the season, we'll draw 40 to 50 boats per tournament, you know, and by the end of the season, when points are kind of dwindling, you know, down to the last couple events, the numbers will cut down, but it's ran great. Blaine Ruddy's the Bass Nation president out here, and he bends over backwards for us, man. He takes care of us. He does a really good job. And at the regional tournament, you know, I had boat issues the second day, and Blaine, I called him and he jumped on my boat, and you know, I pulled up on the trailer and he fixed whatever the issue was and got me going on the water that day. So yeah, the Bass Nation, the federations out here, they're good. They're a good deal. And it's a working man's tour. I come out of tour, but for guys that have jobs and can't afford to go do it, jobs and families, it's a great way to get into it.
I 100% agree. It is a fantastic way to get into it, and I love that that comment. You had a fixer amongst the group. It seems like every club has somebody that can fix anything.
Oh yeah,
you got to have that guy.
That guy is super important,
right?
Because God knows we can break some stuff.
out on like you get out onto the opens or even. Certainly at the top level, you've got service crews that can help out. But man, at Federation, you don't. Man, you gotta learn how to do everything.
That's right.
Parking lot with no tools.
Parking lot, no tools, flashlights,
100-degree heat.
Yeah,
making it happen.
Or midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning projects.
Wawa parking lot.
Yeah, love that. Rich, you're the welder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that we have you. But let's jump down to Will Davis, who qualified in the Southeastern Division from Smith Lake, and I know Smith a little bit. Competed there. It's a crystal clear, deep, like mountain style lake, and man, congratulations on a great win there, Will.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Man, when did you qualify? Was that a spring tournament, or did that just happen? When did that go down?
Last November, I made the state championship on Lake Martin, which kind of resembles Smith Lake, and went down there and ended up winning that, which qualified me to fish Smith Lake.
I love it. I fished Lake Martin. You're right. Those lakes are, they are very similar. They're spotted bass dominated. Is that what you targeted to win, or did you go after the largemouth? Because that's always the thing you wrestle with at those lakes, right? Do I go after one species or the other?
Yes, sir. Certain times of the year you can win predominantly just on spotted bass, but when largemouth or bedding, you're going to have a mixed bag to win most of the time. It makes it very, very challenging to figure them both out if you can't find them bedding, but you definitely have to have that mixed bag to win.
You won in November, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they weren't bedding then, right? What were the patterns that you were doing in November?
I was burning a spinnerbait over brush piles and jigging a spoon and drop shot. And the largemouth was coming over the brush piles, and the spots were coming out, 20 to 30 feet. Just on humps and stuff, yes, sir.
Okay. Were you there's clear water and stained water there. Did you pick one or the other or mix it up?
Yeah, I've got a lot of history on that lake, and that time of year, it always fishes better for me from, I guess, Carlisle, which is down the lake, all the way down to the Narrows. The bait tends to be more active that time of year down that, down in that area. So that's why I really focused on the clear water than I did the stained water up towards Wind Creek and stuff.
I got you. Well, do we have that? You're talking about Lake Martin.
Yes, sir. I thought you were talking about Lake Martin. Yes, sir.
Okay. But you actually won on Smith Lake.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
And that was a spring tournament on Smith?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got you confused. You was talking about what got me here.
Yeah. I'm confused. I've got 4 amazing anglers and 5 bodies of water here. I'm trying to I'm doing my best to keep up with you guys. But
yes, sir.
It's all great stuff. And Smith Lake, now you got spotted bass spawning and largemouth spawning. They don't spawn in the same areas, or do they?
They can if you have a different structures of the lake, like it might be a gravel bar on a point leading into the back of a pocket. So with that being said, they can bed in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Smith Lake and Lake Martin, both them lakes super clear. You can see the fish, spotted bass, bedding and actually catch them doing that, which they're definitely more aggressive. But you're not going to see near many because they bed so deep.
How deep will they bed?
They'll say they'll bed up to, 10 to 15 foot, but, you're not going to be able to see one to catch it, unless it's 6 or 7 foot deep or shallower.
I got you. Has the flogger made its way down into Smith Lake?
No, sir.
It hasn't.
No, sir.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm well, it's got to make its way down. I know we're going to be talking about that here in just a minute, but that's a method to be able to get your look fit 5 to 10 feet deeper into the water. So that's interesting that it hasn't made its way. We'll see. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I'm looking at some of our notes here, and the Davis Bait Company is your father's. That's a bait company that your father started?
Yes, sir. He started about 30 years ago.
Okay. And that's Big Bite Baits.
No, sir. No, sir. He makes products for Big Bite, and Big Bite makes products for us.
I understand. Okay.
Yes.
And you guys are connected with Amart, one of the great teachers at Bass University, one of the most amazing individuals that I've ever had the chance to meet, who recently passed, as many of you know. But it seems like your family was connected with Aaron a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yep. Aaron came to my dad back in probably 2011 during that time, and he heard about my dad through a couple of his buddies, and Aaron had a bait called the Scrounger at the time, and he really couldn't get the action right and all the above. So him and Dad spent countless hours redesigning the bait, all the way from the minnow-type bait, the thickness of it, to the bill material and all that stuff to make it quiver just right.
That's fantastic, and I know that bait is being used and has been modified so many different times. The guys are using it in offshore a lot. Tennessee River, we see guys using it, ledge fishing now. It seems like it has really taken a life of its own, and that's awesome that your dad has been in the business. Would you say your dad introduced you to fishing? It seems like that's got to be the case, right?
Yes, sir. He introduced me when I was about, I guess, 2 years old or 3 years old. He just took me out there fishing off the pier at our local marina down here on Lay Lake, and I got old enough to really get in the boat, and we started fishing from there and started fishing tournaments, and just gradually worked the way all the way up to fishing high school and college and at Bethel University, and then on to fish the opens, and then to fish this national championship coming up in Pickwick in November, which is I'm very excited to fish that.
Yeah, and that's not too far from you at all. I gotta say, what's going on? What's in the water at Bethel University? All the kids coming out of that school are just crushing it, yourself included.
It really has to start, I guess, with the coaches, Gary Mason and Kenny Lauten. I don't think Kenny Lauten is there anymore. I think he's doing the archery there, but them two guys, they definitely laid out the red carpet for guys like me and whoever else.
They've done a heck of a job, and really interesting stuff. Riz, we got to talk to some of these coaches.
Yeah.
I want to get start communicating with some of the coaches, because it's amazing what they're doing. The programs in high school and college are phenomenal. I want you to give I want you to step back just a little bit. I told a story. My son, who's 12, just lost the biggest fish in the pond, and he's emotionally struggling to get over. Do you have any advice for him? He lost it right at the bank.
Just tell him don't put his head down. Just keep on fishing, because that ain't gonna be the only one he loses.
That's true.
That's good advice.
Mental attitude the entire time.
Yes. PMA. Listen to Swindle's. That's what I need to do. Is I need to sit him down and listen to Swindle's positive mental attitude seminar at Bass U. But. Congratulations, Will. We're going to come back to you. We're going to circle back to all you guys, but I want to switch gears. We talked about guys that I can't believe the flogger is not being used for spotted bass fisheries. I think it will be very soon. But we got a guy that just won, just fresh off of a win on the St. Lawrence River with a massive, like a 5.5 pound average or better. It's just crazy. Catching spawning smallmouth is Tim Doobie. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Still coming down from that win. It's a heck of a river, that's for sure. No doubt about it.
Do you have a lot of experience up there, or is that new to you?
No, I've been going up there about the last 4 years or so.
Okay.
But never that time of year. I've never been up in June. I've always been up, middle August, September, even into November. The fishing is excellent up there. So I definitely had some nerves going in, being as I had no experience. I knew there were gonna be some fish spawning. You just didn't know what stage they were at, if they were coming or going. But while we were up there, we had all 3 stages of fish.
How were your fish caught? Were they all spawning fish, or did you catch?
Every single fish I weighed came off of a bed. Day one, it was the first 4 I went to, and so it took me about 25 minutes, and I was looking at 23 pounds on 4.
God. Now, see, a lot of people looking at these weights got surprised because they didn't know it was a 4 fish limit. So they were looking at the weights and going, 20 pounds, that's pretty good. You know, but they did not realize like a 24-pound bag was day one. That was just 4 fish, man. That's 6-pounders.
Yeah, I had 6, 7 that lasted 2 days. That was my biggest one I had, and everything else was a big 5.
Oh, man.
Insane.
Giant submarine. Riz, now you said something. We were talking a little bit. Now, Riz fished the tournament with you and was offering you congratulations, but he mentioned something, Riz, and I want you – he talked about, like, calling the weights out.
Yeah, you pretty much knew what you were going to weigh in.
Yeah, so I found those fish in practice using the flogger. Instead of just putting a waypoint on the bed, every time I catch one, I catch it. If it's a good fish, I'll weigh it. And I'll change that waypoint name to whatever the fish weighs. So I was running to, 648, and then I was running to 599. Then I ran to 585, and then 565. That was the first day. I ended up catching one by mistake. I found new ones because more were coming in. I actually threw back one that would have helped, but I picked it up on day 2.
That's pretty amazing. They stayed there. Those fish stayed there for you. A lot of times, did you have any disappear? Did everything stay put?
So that was part of the strategy. I wanted to stay away from as many boats as possible.
Right.
And I was planning on fishing a tournament around Clayton area, and I launched there, and I go out, and then, every single hump, every island had 4 or 5 boats around it. I'm like, I'm out of here. Because, when you pull it off a bed, it's gone. It's not like you can go behind somebody and catch another one. So I went downriver a ways, and I found an area that didn't have many people around, and that's where I really focused in. I found, the first 2 days I had no fish disappear. In fact, I found one more during the tournament there. But then the last day, I was out of fish in that area, and I actually went down to the Clayton area, and there was still some that I found that first day, but there was a lot of empty beds.
I got you. Now, I was interested because I was talking to Riz about this. I have never competed in a spawning tournament on a river system like that. And I was curious, were you catching them right in the current? Did you go to the backwaters to find the bedding areas? Where do these fish spawn on a river like that?
Pretty much anywhere there's a hard bottom and some sand. It seemed they did not care about the current. They would find a small break somewhere. Yeah, it blew my mind because it was like, wow, like front side of a hump or a back side of a hump, and they're in 1 mile an hour current, 1.5 mile an hour current, and they're just sitting there.
Wow. That goes against the grain of everything that we've been learning. Fish are going to dig to get out of the current.
Yep, they didn't care. They were right in it. They would dig their hole as a bed, and they would just sit there.
Yep. Now, you caught these fish, weighed them, made waypoints. Now, smallmouth are notorious aggressive off the bed, so you were able to do that and still catch them. Did Did you suffer from that? Like, were they much more difficult to catch the second time around, or was it not a problem?
It wasn't a problem. The only time I really ran into the problem was the final day. Up until that point, all 8 fish I hooked came in the boat, and we're catching, 5.5 pound smallmouth, no nets. So it gets kind of interesting on the side of the boat. But I didn't lose a fish the first 2 days, and the last day, I kind of knew where I needed to be at as far as weight wise. And, I hook a 5 1/4 and it comes off halfway to the boat. And that was the first fish I lost all week. And I spent an hour on it.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, we're going to go find another one, go to grab it, lose it again. And so that spent me I spent, 3 hours trying to catch those 2 again, of which I only got 1.
Oh my goodness, that's it's monumental when you're investing that much time in a fish. It's like time goes at warp speed when you can't get those fish to bite.
Especially when you're running, 50 miles, you're looking at an hour run. You gotta get gas. A lot of variables.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I'm amazed that you were able to find something where the other people weren't. I mean, that's a big body of water, but that's still very, very hard to do. Why do you think that the fish you found weren't pressured?
There are definitely boats around me. Coming from fishing Champlain a lot during the spawns. If you're on Champlain, you're looking for the dark spawning beds, the dark little circles. Those are always going to be your biggest fish. And I just, applied that, being a bass is a bass is a bass, to the St. Lawrence. I looked for the darker, harder to see beds where some guys would miss them.
That makes a lot of sense, right? They're going to be light or dark, and the dark ones are harder to see. But you were using. Let's dive in. A flogger with that was used. Did you catch them all off of that technique?
Definitely day 2. Day 1, I think half of them came on it. It's just a magnifying glass, so you can see your bait easier. And even sometimes you'd still lose your bait with the flogger. You couldn't really see it. It was definitely difficult with that current. The second day, every single fish I caught was using the flogger. We had cloudy, overcast, and it was windy. And I mean, you couldn't see in the water at all unless you looked through the flogger.
That's Rich. We were talking about it, and the way it's so complex, right? You got the current. You got the wind. You were talking about getting punched in the face by the flogger.
Yeah. Day 2.
Oh yeah.
Day 2. I was.
Yep.
I was trying to force the issue in some areas that, like I said, I needed to make my decision making a lot quicker than I did. But yeah, that hard plastic hitting you in the forehead feels great.
Did you deal with that, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. There's more than one time I got punched in the face by the flogger, and then also sitting on the side of the gunnel, your chest gets pretty sore after about 5 days of doing it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh man, that's got to be a new piece of gear, right? You got to have a mat to lay over your gunnel.
Yeah, like working on a car.
Yeah, yeah, some type of protection there. But I guess what we're talking about, guys, the floggers. Some for you that don't know what it is, it looks like a construction cone, and you view it. You got to lay down and view over the side of the boat, and the wave action is what we're talking about, because the wave action will hit that. And you're looking right into it like a pair of goggles, and the waves will just mash it right into your face. So it's got to be a tremendously difficult. I've never experienced it. I've been watching it, but it was tremendous that you were able to pull it out and just dominate the tournament. And have you, Tim? Have you ever fished down south? Is this going to be your first trip down to a southern reservoir?
Not my first trip. I've been to Guntersville twice went there for an FLW championship once. And then I fished Pickwick once for about 6 hours, and that's about all I have on there. So looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great tournament. We're all going to be watching, and congratulations, Tim, on your win. And I want to throw it back over to Doug, who we started with, who won on Grand Lake, and we didn't really get the chance to talk to you about how you won your tournament on Grand.
That first week of May when we arrived there, it was we were coming right off the tail end of the Toyota series, so they ended on Saturday. So we started our pre-fishing on Sunday. Tournament started on Wednesday. So the lake was, the fish were, a lot of them were post spawn. Some fish were still spawning, and those guys had worked on them pretty good that week before, as you can imagine, Toyota guys to do.
There's there's 200 boats in that field, so yeah, that body of water was picked over.
Yeah, so the lake was about normal level, maybe a foot low or so, but before the tournament was over, it was like 6 feet high. So we had a lot of rain. Our practice was on and off. I had some found some fish on some wood. They were hanging around the wood cover on the banks, but the problem was a lot of the other guys were hitting that stuff, so there wasn't much wood in the water. But by the end of the tournament, there was more than enough, plenty enough. So caught some fish practicing, square bill, throwing my tube around.
A tube. I did not fish. A tube. That's real old school. You're flipping
old school.
You're flipping a tube on the wood.
Just a regular Yum flipping tube. Just a
awesome
bullet weight. A lot of that Grand Lake is rocks, lots of rocks. And that wood was pretty shallow, so I wanted something that wasn't really heavy and constantly keep me hung in the rock. So the tube, just for me, it just works. I use it a lot. Arkansas River, that is a staple for us around here. So but no, like I said, I didn't have a real good practice. I had some pattern going with the wood and some rock piles that I'd caught fish with square bill around. I went down the lake fishing the cleaner water, and I could catch fish down there, but the size was off for me. Like I said, the fish were going more post spawn. There was still some spawning, but they were real skittish. I couldn't get them to hold still. So I just concentrated on that, what I call the upper part of the lake around the sailboat bridge area, Wolf Creek. I made one cast in the area where I ended up catching the fish. I caught one fish off of a laydown. I didn't fish that anymore in practice, but I had a late draw that first day, and to my surprise, there was no one in that area fishing. So I pulled in there. I didn't really know what I had, and my color and I doubled up like second cast, and it was on all day from there.
Wow.
Mostly throwing just a square bill, booyah 1.5. It used to be a square bill, now it's a round bill. I've ground the bill off of it. Had 18 pounds that first day, put me in second place overall. Most of the fish came on the square bill and just a couple of key fish on the tube that day. And then the next day I had a better boat number, and I went back to the same area, and it was like crickets. They wouldn't touch the square bill. I ended up having to get them on a shaky head and a Cinco that next day. So, and I had to expand my areas. I went to some different areas that second day. That upper end of the lake around the sailboat bridge area, the water was pretty dingy, so you couldn't see the fish spawning there, but I did catch a few throwing a dinger around some docks that had dugouts around them.
Right.
Those fish on that place like those docks that had the dugout areas, and you skip your Cinco up under the I was throwing a dinger under the cables. And then the last day I was second place. I had 13 pounds the second day. Going out the last day, I'm still in second place. And in these deals, you have to be the top Arkansas angler to make it, or top angler of your state to make it to the championship. So unfortunately for me, Mike Webster was leading the tournament. So we had like 5 Arkansas guys in the top 10 or 15 or whatever it was. So I just about had to win the tournament to move on. So that last day, the waterhead came up 5 feet overnight. We ended up having to move the weigh-in trailer back. We ended up having a trailered weigh-in the last day because it all went under the water. The boat ramp there at Wolf Creek was under the water. And the area where main area I've been catching them, there's huge trees floating down the Neosho River, and the mud and the debris just collected in my area. So I had to scramble around, and I went and found some cleaner water in Wolf Creek, found some cleaner water. But the further you went back, I was getting mud coming from the back of the creek. So I was getting squeezed from both ways.
Good.
But I was able to find enough water in there and I caught those fish the last day. I caught one key fish on the tube, and then I caught them on a bladed jig that last day. So
wow,
it was a roller coaster. Ended up tying the tournament. I'm in the tying with the Louisiana angler. And the tiebreaker was the heaviest stringer. I had the heavy stringer on the first day.
Oh man, that's incredible! A tiebreaker, and the first day's bag put you over the top, man. That's that was very, very tight, man. Was there a lot of guys all stacked up there with you?
It was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, congratulations on a great winning by a tiebreaker, man. That's absolutely amazing. Doug, you have a lot of experience doing this stuff in the federation. And it's a team, right? And it's kind of a tricky competition because you guys are the first guy from each team makes it to the national, but you also have a team competition. How did your team work? I mean, did you guys share information? Did you not share? Was it very competitive? How did your team go about competing in this tournament?
Just to give a little history on it. I mean, it has evolved over time, but used to the only monetary gain from the tournament, doing well in the tournament, was the team. The teams made the money. The individuals didn't get checks like they do now. So I've been part of this all the way, all different sides. So we would have a meeting every night, and we'd meet in the motel room, and we'd go around the room, and everybody would kind of tell how they caught their fish.
Right.
Of course, you can imagine how anglers that could be uncomfortable for some guys, and it's pretty comical at times. Some of the stories that you get from your competitors, but
no doubt, right? They're not giving you the goods,
right? But, it was just more of a generic. You didn't have to be really specific, but just be generic. But over time, we've moved away from that. Our guys worked well together. It was more of a kind of a one-on-one deal, hanging around at the motel in the evenings. Like if one of our guys is not catching them very well, say, hey man, throw a tube here, or try a square bill on these rocks or something like that, just to try to help your fellow anglers, because you still are competing as a state. And in our grand event, Louisiana won the overall state competition, and Arkansas ended up second place. So there's some monetary gains from that too. It goes to your state, which helps fund these events. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know the rule change, right? The last I competed, which was back in the 1600s, it was only team money went out. So now there's individuals. They pay back individual prizes. That's awesome. How far down the list do they pay?
Believe it was the top 16.
Okay.
Yeah. So they basically, going into the last day, they cut to the top 2 anglers from each state. And then plus if you're in the top 16 of the tournament. So that ends up being, I think it was like 26 guys competing the last day. So you start out with 90, and then by the last day you're down to 26. And you have to take the top 2 from each state to the last day. And if your guys are already in the top 16, then you take those 2. So.
Okay. No, it's an interesting change. I remember at the teams we would have guys that wouldn't even come to the meetings because they wanted to, didn't want to share information. There's a lot of complexities there, but our teams always did best when we shared information, and I love that part of it. I love that team concept, that camaraderie that you only get by competing in these divisionals. It's pretty cool stuff. But Scott, I want to throw it to you. Do we have some questions from people watching over at Bass U TV? I know we probably got a lot of Federation guys over there.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question from Frank. He was asking about the role of live when you're rolling up on a bed. Are you looking at it through your live scope to sneak up on them, or what's your tactic using kind of live sonar?
Live sonar for all the guys. Let's throw it around the room. That's the question. And let's let Doug. We were just talking to you. Did your forward-facing sonar play in your tournament?
Absolutely. The style of fishing that I was doing, you wouldn't think it would lend itself to it, but I actually there was one particular point that I didn't realize stuck out so far in the lake where I was fishing. And the first pass I made on that morning, I saw some fish hanging off the edge of it, and they looked to be bass. And so the next pass I made on that place, I caught my biggest fish. I held the boat off of it and ended up catching my biggest fish right there. So it certainly did. It wasn't the focus of my pattern was to use the forward facing, the Garmin, but it certainly helped.
Well, there's one down. Frankie, how about you out at Lake Havasu? Was the forward facing a part of your tournament?
I didn't have a graph on my boat, so no.
Yes. Yes.
Old school, baby.
You just made half of the audience jump up and cheer, Frankie.
I have one graph on the console with GPS and water temp and depth, and then I don't have a spot lock trolling motor. I'm not technology. I don't use technology. I don't like it. I'm old school, but I'm young.
Go fishing.
Yeah.
Good job, man. That's awesome.
I love that. John Cox, Keith Poche, all these guys come to mind, man. Way to go. All right, Frankie's out, man. I'm fishing in the dirt. How about you, Will? How about at Smith Lake? Did it play for you?
Oh, absolutely. It was a key instrument that I used to definitely win that tournament. Eliminated a lot of water. And, saved me a lot of time. When I go in the back of these drains or runoffs, if I didn't see them, I'd get out of there, go to the next one. And that really saved me. So it's definitely changed the way that I fish totally, even here on the Coosa River.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I understand, and there's two out of three are using it. How about the spawning fish up at the St. Lawrence, Tim? Was that a factor in finding or catching those fish?
Not so much for catching them. I did have it on during practice, but during the tournament, my only graph was my only screen was just the map with waypoints. It really didn't play a factor. It would have definitely played a factor later in the year. And I'm sure some guys did use it in this tournament that were fishing for pre-spawners.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was just everything was eyeballs and flogging the entire time.
The flogger's like the living scope. Like
Yes.
the live scope is good,
Exactly.
but with the flogger, you're like actually looking at them in 20 feet of water. So.
You're down in the bed, like having an Aquaview down there.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yep.
I mean, that's a good question on the message board. There's some banter going around about the flogger, right? So, do you paint it? Or
Good. Get a little closer to the mic, Scott.
Oh, there you go. With the flogger, a lot of people are talking about painting them, different colors, putting straps on them so you don't lose them. Any tips and techniques the crew wants to give us on how to use one of those?
Yeah, Tim, are you camouflaging your flogger so people can't see you using it?
I mean, it's very obvious when you're using the flogger. You're looking at the guy on the front deck laying on his belly. But I do paint mine black, both sides of it, to just stop the light from going through. And on the St. Lawrence, I did have to use a rope to tie it up because normally you can just hook a fish, you just let the flogger go, and it won't sink on you. But on the St. Lawrence, by the time you got that fish in, your flogger would be about a quarter mile down the river. So you ended up having to tie a rope on it. So when you set the hook, you just let it hang next to the boat.
I got you. That's it. That's really cool. It will float away. That current's ripping up there.
We need to make a flogger that's about 6 feet tall, so we can just stand up and stand up and do it, man. It's pretty. I mean, getting up and down is like, I mean, do it especially when you're looking for them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's 50 to 100 times a day. Just down on your knees, back up, down on your knees, back. It's like being a Catholic church. Like you're just constantly up and down.
Is your body still sore, Tim?
At this point, no.
Recovered.
Definitely Saturday and Sunday, but we're over that hump finally.
Yeah. That's awesome. Scott,
couple that with the 50-mile ride. You know what I mean? It's like you get out of the seat and your back's just twisted into a knot. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely a couple inches shorter after that week.
That's funny. Well, you had the long rides there. Get ready. Pickwick's a big lake. You can make long runs down there too. And Scott, let me throw it back to you. Do we have another question for the guys?
Just a general one. So what about fogging up? Like, do these floggers fog up? Do you have to put anything on the plastic? Like I know my hummingbirds, you got to clean them up real good and so they don't fog up on me when it rains.
I mean, the only time it really fogs up is when you get water on the inside of it. which does happen. But usually you just take it apart, you wipe it down with a rag real good. You can use glass cleaner on it, but really didn't happen that much for me.
Yeah, good deal.
I got a question. This format is a multi-day tournament, and I remember it was a big deal for me in the federation because it was all single days, right? You qualify through the state in one-day events. Most of the team tournaments you fish are one-day events. So the very first multi-day tournament that I competed in was a nation divisional tournament, and I found that, boy, there's a lot of adjustments. It kind of shocked me, and I'm going to throw it to you, Frankie. No sonar, Frankie. I love that. We got to come up with a tagline for him. But was this your? Do you have a lot of experience with multi-day tournaments, or was this your first go at it, Frank?
No, this was actually the fourth time I've fished a regional tournament.
Wow, at 26, that says a lot.
Yeah, thank you. But that, and then I fished the one Bass Pro-Ams out west, and I fished the Toyota Series. So I've fished a handful of them. I'm kind of comfortable with them now, but it's not bad.
If you had to, what was the big adjustment, or can you think of an adjustment you had to make, the difference between going from single-day tournaments to multi-days?
Well, I think I like the multi-day tournaments more because, if you slip up, you have another day to make it up.
Mm-hmm.
One-day tournaments, you can't mess up at all. Ideally, you don't want to mess up at all, but on 3 days, you have a chance to pick up ground that you lost, and it helps me kind of fish a little more comfortable.
Yeah, well, you seem to do that in your tournament out at Havasu because you had the biggest bag of the tournament with a 22-pound bag coming off of a 12-pound day one. So you were able to really make a nice adjustment there. Tell me about that. Like, how were you catching them at Havasu? Because we haven't really heard about your Havasu patterns. How were you catching them? How'd you make that adjustment to catch that monster bag?
Well, my pre-fish was mostly 2 weeks before that. I fished the one Bass Arizona Open, and I kind of used that as my pre-fish. And on day one, I'd found some fish shallow in that tournament before, and I was hoping to go flip, but it was kind of overcast and calm, so they were kind of just out cruising around. So I just picked up a swim jig and a chatterbait and just paralleled tule lines all day, and that's how I caught them. I caught a couple flipping, but mostly doing that. And I seen a lot of the big ones that I honestly think are the ones that I caught the second day.
Okay.
And then day two.
By the way, for the rest of the world, tules are cattails or reeds. We've got different names for that all across the country, but at the West Coast guys always are calling them tules. I love that.
Yeah, and then day two, like I said, it was the same thing. I ran the same tule patches, and I was telling my co-angler, and I haven't caught a good one all week. In the last few weeks I've been fishing, and my first fish was a 2-pounder on the swim jig, paralleling it, and then I started flipping because the wind started blowing and the sun came up, and my next fish was like a 5-pounder, and then I just kept running the same waters. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I caught the fish that I seen the day before, because I seen some big ones, and then they just, one of those days it just comes together and works out for you. And then the last day, that was a mentally challenging day. I caught a good one right off the bat, and then I went a few hours without a bite. Then I caught another one, and then another one after that. I had 3 fish with about an hour to go, and I lost a couple throughout the day, and I pulled into one more spot, and I was able to flip one, and then I lost another one. And at that point, I knew, I was like, there's no way, I just lost the tournament. And I was stressed because the guy who was in second place, like 4 ounces behind me, was from Arizona. And there was another guy in the top 5 from Arizona. And it was pretty stressful, but coming back, the doc talk, which I never really try to tend to listen to, but talking to other people, they're like, man, he only had 1 fish, he only had 2 fish. So that kind of, I don't know, that waiting in the parking lot to go up with the weigh-in bag that day, that was probably the longest weigh-in of my entire life.
That's a
We
lot.
all know the feeling.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. Well,
It's like the hardest. It's like the heaviest anxiety you ever feel waiting in that bag line.
It really is.
You love it, but it's like.
Yep. Everybody's talking. Do you have enough? Do you think you got enough? Especially only sitting on 4 fish. That's you got to think. Oh man, did I leave it out there? But you didn't. You won the event. And those fish that you caught out of the toolies, did any of them have birds in their bellies?
No, it was a little early in the year for that.
Okay.
About right now is when you start catching them with birds in their bellies.
Okay.
Those are all just big, fat, pre-spawn largemouth.
It's so cool because I heard it for the first time when Aaron Martins won out there flipping the toolies and he'd show you the bass and he'd feel around and he'd say, see, there's a bird. They I guess those red-winged blackbirds all nest in the toolies and the bass feed on them, and it's a pretty big pattern out there.
There was a lot of guys upset about that after that tournament because he revealed all the secrets that everyone thought they had. But
or answer questions on why these birds in my live well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's
spin them up.
Yeah, and that's just such a unique pattern. But yeah, he revealed that for sure. But that's great stuff, and well, great win out there at Lake Havasu. It's for those of you guys that have never been out west. I call it a desert lake. It's just it looks like you're fishing on the moon compared to most of the other parts of the country. But Havasu and Meade and their Clearwater fisheries and great fisheries. So. But congratulations, Frankie. Doug, I want to throw it back to you because you may have the most experience here in multi-day tournaments. What advice would you have for people that are moving from, maybe going to Pickwick, maybe fishing a series of multi-day tournaments for the first time on how they can be successful going from single-day competitions to multi-day competitions?
And I love multi-day events. That's what I look forward to anytime I can get into one of those. I'm not always the guy in the clique that's on on the big schools or whatever, but usually if you give me, give 3 days, I can be consistent enough to do well. I guess the main thing, like my day one partner co-angler that I had at Grand Lake was he asked me a couple times, "Are you thinking about laying off of these fish?" And I said, "No, I'm not laying off these fish." Because I knew the lake was changing every day. The water was rising. The mud was moving around. I'm like, we're going to catch them all we can catch.
Yes.
Until I start calling, throwing back fish that I could, that 3-pounders and down or whatever. I'm going to keep leaning on. Turns out I needed every ounce that I got. But learning through the years, what I've learned is when you're pre-fishing, if you find a pattern, don't run that pattern all over the lake. That's what I used to do. I would get on the fish first day of practice. I'd run the whole lake looking for that pattern. I'd catch, I'd have really good practices. But tournament time, something changes, that pattern doesn't work anymore. Now you're in trouble. So I guess my advice would be to try to find as many different patterns as you can and not just try to run that one pattern all week of practice.
That's great advice. And I love the assessment you made there. The waterway is changing by the second. There's no way I'm leaving feeding fish on there. I don't know what I'm going to face tomorrow. I'm going to catch what I can, and I'm going to worry about tomorrow. Great advice on a changing fishery like rising water, like you dealt with out there. That's great stuff, and great advice for everybody. Tim, I want to throw it over to you because you had to deal with spawning fish. So did Will, spawning fish in multi-day tournaments. But how did you guys? Let me start with you, Tim. Did you? I guess you were able to conserve your fish and manage your fish in a sight fishing tournament. That's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, on the first day, I actually caught one fish. It would have helped me by 1/4 pound. It was like a 575, and I threw it back. to go pick it up the next day.
All right, raise your hand if you've ever culled a 5.7 pound bass in a tournament.
Pete, he didn't cull that fish. He caught that fish,
Wait a
and
minute.
it would have culled a fish for him, and he threw it back so that he could catch it the next day.
Saving strategy.
Wait a second.
Yep.
Wait a second. I don't
He
think
caught a fish
Yeah.
that would have given him a heavier bag on that day.
on day one.
On day one.
On day one.
And let it swim back to the bed so he could catch it the next day.
If it was a 5-fish limit, I would have almost pushed 29 pounds.
Wow. How big was the fish smaller than that? How many?
It was a 565.
65. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. But you can only do that when you're on a ridiculously good fishery like the Thousand Islands with these massive groups of massive smallmouth. That's not realistic to most people listening to this.
New York fishing. New York fishing is fake. Like it's not. It's not even like the real world. You go up there and it's just so good.
Yeah.
You know, we got our places. We got to grind our hands into the bone to get 5 bites a day.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
A lot of places are like that, but you were fishing in a great fishery, but you outfished everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. There's no way we're taking anything away from what you did there because
not
it was
at all. It makes
amazing.
it even harder. I say all the time, it makes it harder to win on places when the fishing is just out of control good.
Yeah.
Because like anybody can catch a giant at any given time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like to come out on top and win during an event like that where they're literally spawning everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere to find the 4 biggest fish for 3 days in a row it's impressive.
Yeah.
That was like before the tournament, all the dock talk was like, how much is it going to take for this? What's the number, you know?
Yeah.
And
what was the number?
Like 20, 21, 3 days in a row. 20 pounds a day, you'd be doing pretty good.
Wow.
But-
That's intimidating.
Yeah.
On a
Big
4-fish limit.
4-fish limit.
It's crazy.
Well, you did that.
5
What was your weight? 62 and change?
62.10.
Whew. Yep. That's a 5 1/4 pound average, right? Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty stout stuff. Well, let's go from Disneyland up at Thousand Islands to let's go down to Smith Lake where Will you managing a sight fish during your tournament had to be a lot more complex.
Yes, sir, it was. I love sight fishing, and I had in my mind when I got there that that's all I'm going to look for and try to find some early fish, shad spawn type deal. And I pulled up in a couple areas where I found some fish before cut off that was bedding, and it was muddy. And I was like, or stained, and the water was, I think it's 4 foot higher than normal pool. I don't know the actual number of, I think it's like 411 or whatever. It was like 415. And the water level of the lake. And so I went, different areas of the lake trying to find clear water, and it just didn't pan out for me. And the last day of practice, I think we practiced that Sunday. In 3 days, the water dropped almost 2 foot. So I went back in the area and checked out a couple places and seen a 4-pounder that was just kind of hanging out, and the buck was up there on bed. And I was like, well, I'll come back in here and catch you, in the tournament, hopefully. Well, I went back in there on day one, and she was gone. I was like, golly. And went back in there second day. She was gone. Third day, I told my co-angler I had 11 and a half pounds, and I had 20 minutes left. I said, let me run back in here real quick, just check on this fish. If I got a shot to win, I need to catch her. So I run back in there. Buck was up there, and I look, and here comes the female. She just chased off the brim.
Come on.
Swims right up there. I flip up there, and she sucks it right in, and I catch her with 15 minutes to go. Yes, sir.
Did that win it?
Yes, sir. It'd have been close. It'd have been close. I think I won about 2.5 pounds. So I had one that was 2 1/4 that I had to get rid of. So, it might have well, won it for me. But you always fish like it's your, like you got to have every ounce. So I always fish the last minute because you never know.
Yeah, that's well, that's sound advice for anybody, especially fishing a multi-day tournament. Is you got to fish, till the very end, till the wire drops, and you never know. You never know. You'll be able to jump back in the tournament. But Scott, do we have a question or two that we can throw to these guys? Because I appreciate you guys. I mean, we're dealing with guys like you guys are working full time. You're doing this on the weekends, and I appreciate you and the companies that you work for being able to be here with us today. We're gonna really appreciate that, and I want to wish you guys best luck. I want to throw you a question. If guys are going to follow you, they want to watch you through the national championship. Do you guys have social media accounts? Let me start it with Frankie. Do you guys have a place where guys can keep up with you and how you're doing?
Yeah, it's just probably my Instagram would be Frankie_Mueller. Nothing fancy about that. Muellar, and then Facebook, same thing.
Awesome. Well, how about you, Doug?
Yeah, on my Facebook page, Doug Thompson there.
And Will?
I got an Instagram, which I do not know my username because I don't never change it or whatever. I think it's Will Davis 777 _ and then I have Facebook just as Will Davis.
Outstanding. Tim?
Yeah, just on Facebook, Tim Doobie, and then my Instagram, it's under Tim Doobie, but it's Doobie Time.
Doobie Time
is my yep.
And there you go.
Doobie Time.
I wonder if we're talking about fishing.
It was Doobie Time at St. Lawrence, that's for sure.
Love it, guys. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us at the Bass U. We're going to be watching, and hopefully one of you guys is going to be raising the big trophy. Maybe one or all of you guys are going to the Bassmaster Classic. But thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, and we'll catch up with you real soon. Everybody watching, we'll keep you updated as we'll be keeping an eye on the guys and how they're doing. So thanks so much.
Yep.
Can we take a quick break,
Yeah,
Riz?
yeah, we'll take a quick break. Thanks to the regional champions there, guys. It was interesting talk there.
Yep, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to give away some really cool prizes. Go like us and share us over on Facebook. We are brought to you by Tackle Direct. We're at Tackle Direct Studios, and we are going to be we'll be right back after this message, and we'll give away some stuff. So hang in there, guys. BassBoatForSale.com is the world's premier bass boat listings business. We focus on driving premium web traffic to our main website, business Facebook page, business Instagram, and our business YouTube channel, providing your bass boat listings the best buying traffic and top-notch exposure. Whether you need to sell your bass boat or are looking to buy a bass boat, it's simple. We give boats exposure so buyers shop and sellers list. One-time listing fee, no commission, and boats list until they sell. BassBoatForSale.com. Check it out.
Aquaview, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. Aquaview. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA. strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick, every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Welcome back, everybody. Glad you're with us. What a great story from each one of those anglers, and a new story under development right now up at the Mississippi River with the Northern Division going to be starting tomorrow, and it's just such cool. I just want to give a shout out for Bass Boat for Sale. Riz, I wonder if they take goats in trade.
I think they do, actually. It's they've recently worked it in to their sales to their sales program. You can only do it though on the third Wednesday of every third month. Okay. So yeah, but you can do it.
Goats, who knows what else? But so if you've got a high, top shelf goat that you wanna list, this might be the place. We love Bass Boat for Sale.
Jocelyn's over there like, what in the heck is being talked about right now? She's rolling her eyes thinking, these guys are just out of their mind.
I think I came in a little too late because I have no clue what goat or sheep or whatever you're talking about.
No, one of the guys, one of our guys, Frankie from Havasu, got his first boat by trading a goat to get his first boat. But you get a lot out of it. Yeah. Well, we love Bass Boat for Sale. You got a boat to buy and sell. It's the place to list. It's the place to buy. It's where everybody's looking. High quality, high class boats that are going to, when you make a purchase, going to get you on the water. They're going to be right. So go check it out if you're in the business or wanting to buy or sell a boat. Bass Boat for Sale. So we've got a Facebook like and share going on. You guys know that. Get that done if you haven't done it. Go get subscribed right now at bassu.tv if you haven't done that. Jocelyn, what else we got? Here comes. Come on. There she is. There she is.
So we actually have quite a few things going on. So everyone knows that this weekend's going to be 4th of July weekend. So a lot of our sponsors have some sales going on. But I think it's really cool that one of our sponsors is Cash and Rod. And they're celebrating America and an American-made product. So they're going to have a really cool sale going on. It's their largest sale yet. It's going to be 20% off all Cash and Rods and also free shipping on all orders.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're going to update that code, but it's for everyone. Not just it's for everyone, but for our members, go check it out. Use the code Made in America and you'll get 20% off. We also have a few other things. Hobie Eyewear, they have their Monarch float sunglasses. It's going to be their new product at ICAST, and they're currently running the 4th of July sale on their website for 20% off plus free shipping on those pairs. So they're their new pair, so go check them out.
Awesome.
And then we also have
we're giving away a pair of Hobies.
We
today.
are. Those sunglasses. That's exactly we're going to be giving those away.
Excellent. Tough question, by the way. I hope you guys were taking notes.
Hold your mic a little closer.
Thank you.
And then also something that we just got in, Rod Warrior, our buddy Pete Lerner sent over that he wants to do a 15% off for BU members site-wide for 4th of July. So we're going to probably send out a newsletter. So check your newsletter and you'll get a specific code and you'll get 15% off Rod Warrior.
I love the Rod Warrior. They float, protect your rods, especially when you're buying high caliber stuff like casting rods, got to love those Rod Warrior sleeves.
Hooks do not stick in them, no matter what you do.
That's
it's
true.
the most beautiful part of it.
It is. It really is.
Gotta have to transport your babies everywhere.
That's right.
And also just go check out Tackle Direct because they're having their beginning of summer sale. So there's a lot of things going on over there. So there's so many sales during 4th of July. Everyone, that's when you should shop.
Yeah, right. Well, that's great. Go check it all out. Thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate you being with us today. You can hear her via voice. We don't have a camera
Can't
on
see
her
me.
right
I
now.
like it that way.
Well, we like that you're here, and go check out all that great stuff. And we have. Do you want to do? What do you want to do first? The like and share, Riz. Where are we at?
I'll go ahead and cue the question up, and then we'll get the like and share ready to go. So today's grand prize trivia question is going to be, so on day one of Tim Doobie's regional tournament on the St. Lawrence River, he opted not to cull out one of his fish with a larger fish so that he could catch the larger fish on day two. What did the fish he opted not to cull weigh? What did the fish weigh that Tim Doobie opted not to cull on day one of his St. Lawrence River tournament?
And that's we're looking for exact
Got to be
numbers.
specifics.
Got to be specific. So what an amazing set of events to let a fish that big go and be culling fish of that caliber. Just truly amazing stuff.
We'll see. Well, I think we need the exact on it, but
it's pounds, tenths, and hundredths. So he gave the exact number, guys. So that's what we're looking for. By the way, we're gonna our Bassmaster. For our Facebook like and share, we have a $50 pack. It's going to include stuff like from Rapala, from VMC, from TH Marine, and we're going to hook you guys up with a really cool pack like we always do. And we've got what else do we got going on? We were just working on a great seminar, and this is kind of like I want to start giving you guys a really strong look at what's going on behind the scenes. But Hank Cherry, who obviously has won 2 Bassmaster Classics, back-to-back Bassmaster Classics, and is a riprap specialist, we have a seminar that we're dropping with Hank Cherry that is about how to attack riprap, how to attack it through the seasons. And this is going to be something that everybody wants to listen to. It's going to help everybody in any body of water that they fish, because every body of water has it. I can't think of a body of water that doesn't have it. If it's a reservoir, it always, you have it for bank stabilization on properties. You have it at your dams, anywhere the current sweeps. For erosion control, riprap definitely exists. It can be shallow, can be deep. It exists there. On natural bodies of water, once again, it's often used for bank stabilization, and fish use it. They use it to spawn. They use it to transition, to feed, and Hank is just the absolute best using his Berkeley Stunner jerkbait. Can be most often seen throwing that up on the riprap. So look for that coming real soon to Bass University TV, and we have a constant source of information. We launch 2 to 3 pieces of content every single week. Also, look for us down at iCast. We're going to be broadcasting via social, really live with a lot of what's going on at iCast. We are going to be talking with all the movers and shakers of the industry, what the new products are, what's going to be launched, and things that you really need to know about. So look for the Bass University iCast reporting and information. None more important than some of the new Humminbird stuff. Really want you guys to check that out. Mum's the word. I cannot talk about it.
Mum's the word.
Because it is top secret. But on July 6th, Humminbird is going to be releasing all the deets on their new stuff. And you want to talk about stuff that's going to change the way you think about the way you fish. I want to talk about it, Jocelyn. They won't let me talk about it.
I mean, you could. You just get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. Maybe. I wonder what the penalty would be. Is it worth it?
I mean,
Maybe
they
it's
always
worth
say
it.
do it and then ask for forgiveness.
Right?
I'm just kidding.
That's right.
You're off the Hummingbird team.
Yeah.
You're out of here.
Yeah.
Better. What is it? Better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
That's what I was taught.
We're not going to do that.
That's some amazing gear, though.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
It's truly going to revolutionize.
Really excited for iCast this year because last year was my first iCast and it was a little slow, but I hear this year it's going to pick up and there's going to be a lot more people there. And
It'll be busy. It'll be busy. We're back to normal, right? We've been dealing with the COVID years, and there's going to be new products. Always exciting to see. Of course, Ike Gilly did really, really well.
Won it last year.
Yes, and best in show for a lure, which was like very unusual. That's to have that be the deal. What's it going to be this year?
I don't know.
He's got the new product, the new lure, the new spider.
Spider.
They had a spider.
Spider jig.
Yeah, they've had that.
Bat lure.
Yeah.
They got the birds.
They had the ducks.
Yeah, the ducks. I saw those.
Yeah.
Flip flop lure.
We're gonna come. Maybe we need to reintroduce the tube. I love it. What Doug was using down there to win his tournament. Flipping a tube, Riz. Come on.
Flipping a tube.
That's old school. Do we have
not the jig? A tube.
We're releasing a video today about flipping.
We are.
Flipping 101.
Brandon Polinick.
Oh yes, Brandon Polinick. I remember when we produced that, and Brandon's such a good teacher. He's one of the best teachers, been around with us since day one. Also a Nation guy. He got his start through the Nation, just like everybody that we had on the show today. So very always thrilled to have Brandon as part of Bass University, and you want to definitely check out his flipping and pitch. His swim bait, his glide bait fish catches is still one of the most exciting and popular fish catches that we have. We just filmed that this year.
That's awesome.
Anybody get close yet, Riz?
Yeah, we got a winner.
What? I didn't hear the bell.
It was
ding, ding.
Frank with the correct answer of 568.
Man,
Frank.
Tim Doobie opted not to call a 568 smallmouth on day one of the tournament with a fish that weighed substantially more so that he could keep that fish for the next day and catch it and weigh it again off of a bed.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me because how do you know that fish is going to be there?
Somebody else isn't going to catch it.
That's a gamble. That's a gamble you got to
Craziness.
take. Yes. I'm waiting for the MLF guys to get on a tournament like this where they can catch and release the same fish over and over and over and keep getting.
Pretty sure it happened last year
for it.
at the St. Lawrence. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I won't name any names, but some guys caught the same fish like 5 and 6 times throughout the tournament.
Is that true?
Wow. Yes.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I'll test it
on
out.
the river.
Yeah.
On the St. Lawrence.
You're gonna Scott's gonna test it.
I'm
out.
going to put it through the test.
Yeah, don't let any 5.68 pounders go, Scott.
But I love
Put
that
them in
idea
your live
of
one.
putting that weight on your waypoint. I mean, that's genius.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it takes a second, but man.
It really it's
tournament like that.
It's pretty complex because I've never done that. I usually will do it by visual, like I can look at them and say, okay, that's a good one. That's a 3-pounder. But when you start getting up into that range where they're all in that 4 to 5 pound range, I guess it's so hard to decide. A 4-pounder could be a 6-pounder, depending on its depth.
And it's tough to tell, honestly. Like,
your eyes.
I realized quickly that, like, you look at a fish in 18 feet of water on a bed, which is like crazy. You think about that, like, it's in 18 feet of water. It's in current, like the whole deal. And you look down there, it looks like a perch. You know what I mean? And it gets up next to the boat. It's like a 5.5 pounder, just wallowing next to the boat. It's like, oh my God, this was a little bigger than I thought it was.
Yep.
Staring at it through a stupid traffic cone.
Traffic.
And just
That's when you need an Aquaview.
Yes, there you go. That would do it.
Exactly.
Just figuring out where to cast to get on that bed with the current, the wind, the boat movement.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and we're talking about half-ounce drop shot.
Yeah.
Tim, and I should have asked this on the show, but I know just from talking after the tournament, Tim was using a 1 ounce drop shot weight.
Wow.
1 ounce
Yeah.
drop shot weight. 3/4 ounce Ned Rick had.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. That's what you got in order to get the baits down with wind and current and waves.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a lot more challenging than you think it is. You see a bed in even 5 feet or deeper. I mean, you think you're throwing upstream, but then you watch your bait get washed down. So you absolutely need those heavier weights. But that is extreme. 1 ounce and a 3/4 ounce Ned. Who makes a 3/4 ounce Ned? I need to get some of those. But that's great stuff. Great show. I loved it. Love talking with the Weekend Warriors. Congratulations, guys. Thanks again for being on the show. Appreciate you. Jocelyn, appreciate you being here with us. And Scott, thanks for filling in.
Yeah, great time.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And, of course, Riz, great finish up there at the St. Lawrence. Congrats for making it. And,
Our own Barry Hammer at Bass-U. Good job.
Well done, and thanks for everything.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get back to that tournament because
it's fun.
It's a weird thing. For people that follow along with Bass-U and everything else, I got a lot going on right now. Like I bought a house in April. It's a fixer-upper. I have a ton going on, and I went into that tournament up on the St. Lawrence. Like I honestly had kind of a I don't even really want to be here mentality, like just because I have so much other crap going on. Mm-hmm. But when they call your boat number, everything else goes out the window.
Yeah. Rich, what was your emergency tackle direct order that you needed to place?
Oh, my emergency tackle direct order. Yeah, shout out to the guys at Tackle Direct. As advertised, they will get you the stuff in very short order. So I had to get a tackle direct order in for spy baits, drop shot weights, more Berkeley Max scent, and some swim baits. So the guys I was staying with, like we talked about, I was up there with a group of guys that I fish with all the time, and we all needed stuff. I put that order in at about 3:00 on Monday afternoon, and it was at our door Tuesday morning. So they got the stuff together, got it out the door quick, and got it overnighted up there. So big shout out to Tackle Direct. They put some baits in the house that I was staying at that were really, really crucial to one of the guys we stayed with, coming away with the win. So it was good stuff from Tackle Direct.
Excellent. Facebook like and share winner?
Yes, we have a Facebook like and share winner today of Mr. Warren Beard. Mr. Warren Beard, thanks for supporting the Bass University Live podcast. You won yourself a $50 awesome tackle pack from all of our sponsors here at Bass UTV.
We will be, next week, Mike and I will be competing at the Bass Open up on Lake Oneida.
Pete, your mic.
Lake Oneida.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry. Mike and I will be competing at the Bassmaster Open Lake Oneida. So I'll be keeping you guys posted on social through the Bass University pages. So check all that stuff out and wish us well. We hopefully one of us will be punching a ticket to this year's Bassmaster Classic and joining some of these other guys that are going to get there real soon.
Yeah.
So we will see you the week after, and we'll keep you posted. We're going to have another great guest. Thanks, everybody, for taking some time, hanging out with us. It was a blast, and we will see you in 2 weeks with another episode of Bass University Live. Have a great day, everybody.